I'm here wanting to give it a try tonight.
Hey, Jay, that's great. I just came over. Have you heard anybody else yet?
I heard some tones, kind of like, the beginning tone just for testing. I heard that a couple of times. If that wasn't you, then somebody's out there, but I haven't heard anybody yet.
Good evening, Alpha India 6, Delta Golf.
Hey, Joel, it's James. Have we heard from Carol yet?
Yeah, this is KP4MD, and I'm ready to start with the script if we want to go with the net now. Okay, thank you. Good evening. Sorry for being a couple of minutes late here. This is Carol, Kilo Pop 4 Mike Delta, your net control operator for the River City Arc Slow Scan television net. This net serves for training and practice in image transmission modes and meets Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific Time on the N6NA repeater in Sacramento, California on 441.30 megahertz. River City Arcs members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. We also stream on our YouTube channel. If you wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time, please announce your call sign between transmissions and net control will acknowledge you. If an emergency should arise and you need the repeater, please contact the net control by saying break break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who wish to check in are asked to respond with their full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet in their name. I'll recognize each station before I continue. Any stations wishing to check into the net, please come now.
AE6JG.
Alpha India 6, Delta Golf, Joel in Florence.
November 6th, Sierra Alpha Charlie, J in Antelope.
Okay, so far I've got A6JG, AI6GG, November 6 Sierra Alpha Charlie, and myself, Sierra Kilo Pop 4 Mike Delta. Final call for any other stations who want to join us. Okay, nothing heard, so we're going to proceed with number 1 on the list. James, A6JG, are you ready to send a picture?
Thanks, Carol. I think so. Thanks for running the net. Here we go. Let's see if it works.
Okay, thank you very much for that picture. It came through very well here. Let's turn it over to Joel, AI6DG. How did you copy that? Over.
Excellent reception with very few pops, just a handful. We've got a small, really small white keyboard on the lower left. Above that we have a KX3. Above that we have a transceiver, a desktop transceiver of some kind. I'm not sure what kind, the resolution's not quite there. That actually has sitting on top of it, it looks like a folded ARRL band plan. To the right of that, we've got a signal link sitting on top of a small box. Maybe it's an antenna tuner. And below that, one of those binome lithium batteries. And below that, I guess it's a mouse pad, but I can't tell for sure. Upper right corner, some more stuff. I can't tell what it quite is. But very small and portable setup. And the KX3 is tuned to 28.420. Oh, someone's getting ready for the 10-meter net that happened earlier tonight. Back to net, AI6DG.
Okay, thank you for that report, Joel. Over to you, Jay. How did you copy the picture? Over.
Yeah, just as good as what Joel was saying there. Everything came through nice and clear, and yeah, it sure looks like it's on the normal 10-meter frequency we use for the 10-meter net. So yeah, well done. And I've only got maybe 20 obvious pops at that. So very clear. Over.
Okay, yeah, if you look at the picture that I received that's over on YouTube, I only got about 4 pixel pops, and they're all in the brown area between to the right of the KX3 and of that keyboard. And I notice on the KX3 it looks like you have the end plates, the aftermarket end plates on there. Very, very well. And yep, that definitely looks like an LDG. Perhaps it's an LDG antenna tuner that's under the signal link. So over to you. Tell us, James, what this picture is about, please. Over.
Thanks, everybody. Well, you pegged it. Joel, of course, is the best describer of things. So, Joel, the one thing that you weren't aware of is the transceiver behind the KX3 is a Yaesu FT710. I was hoping Bill N6HA would be on tonight because he loaned me this KX3 to try out, so I thought he'd be happy to see it up and running. Yeah, you all got it all. In the upper left corner, that turquoise or blue box is a antenna switch. So that allows me to switch between radios. Well, it's one antenna, 2 radios. So I guess it's a radio switch. All right, back to you, Carol. AE6JG.
Okay, yeah, oh yeah, I noticed that now. It looks like one of those, what's the name of that company? I think I have one of those switches also. They sell them over at HRO. It's a 2-position switch, antenna switch there, coaxial switch. Very good. Any other comments or questions about this picture before we move on? Okay, yeah, I just want to comment that I did hear you talking on 10 meters. You were kind of light the first time, but the second time you were more copyable, and then you switched over to the 100-watt rig, and you were a lot stronger. But I was able to copy you. I think maybe you just picked up your modulation the next time you came back, and so I was able to copy quite low, about a Q2, Q3 or so. But I was able to hear you. So let's go over to Joel, AI6DG. If you have a picture, please proceed. Over.
PD120.
Okay, very good. This is Killer Papa for Mike Delta. First of all, we have a greetings from Alvaro, Kilo Bravo 2 Uniform Echo Whiskey, who says great job and 73 on live chat today. Thank you very much for joining us, Alvaro. And nice picture here, Joel. You just like to take pictures where you see people teetering on the brink of the abyss. Very good. Let's see how other people have copied the picture. Let's go over to you, James. Alpha Echo 6 Juliet Golf. Over.
Thanks, Carol. Yeah, this is an interesting image. The bottom third is, and the top 10th is all black, and I only have a handful of pixel pops in the black, which is really good. The image quality in terms of the definition is lower definition than we usually see with newer cameras, so I'm wondering if this is an older picture, maybe at Yosemite. I'm guessing, Joel, that is probably you, and thinking about getting closer to the edge. But nice image, good composition, and I can barely see just a few white pixel pops in the blue sky. AE6JG, back to you, Carol.
Okay, thank you very much for that report. And next, let's see, Jay, how did you receive that? N6SAC, KP4MD, over.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. This is N6SAC. Yeah, this is like maybe deja vu all over again. It's either, it might be related to the same picture from last week. I've got a fair number of pixel pops, and it kind of covers the whole image. They're not distracting enough, but they're across there. But yeah, certainly it looks like it's that angle of half dome that he was describing, kind of from the back. And but it certainly looks good where you know, you're on the edge of some granite, and there is a big valley in front of you. And I like the spread of people around there. Some are close to the edge. Some are a little bit safer, taking a little safer look. But very cool being up there, and a very nice picture. Back to you, Carol, N6SAC.
Okay, thank you for that. And let's go over to Joel. Please tell us more about this picture. Over.
So this is a continuation from last week. Last week, the shot, the picture I sent was was 180 of this. So instead of me looking at that point that's sticking out and has an overhang, last week I was standing on that, looking this way. This week I'm on this side, looking at the overhang. So these two kind of go together. If you still got last week's shot, set it side by side with this, and you'll be looking at the two directions. This week we're looking towards the valley. So we're on top of Half Dome, looking past the nose into the valley. There's actually, if you know what you're looking at, Glacier Point off in the distance, and North Dome, and El Capitan, and Sentinel Dome. And I can kind of pick out what some of the things in the valley are, but the resolution's just slow. The original image is actually really high resolution, but it's an odd aspect ratio, and it's being scaled down to fit into the 640, 480, or whatever the resolution is that PD120 is. So it loses some of the resolution. So most of the people are, I think, just sitting there, relaxing, recovering from the hike and climb up, and having their lunch. There's a few people, you can't really tell that they're people. The resolution's so low out on the nose. being very adventuresome, standing that close to the edge. Amazing hike. I gather no one here has been up on top of Half Dome. Try it sometime. But I would suggest not day hiking it, but turning it into a backpacking trip. The only time I've made it to the top of Half Dome is when I turned it into a 3 or 4 day backpacking trip. Back to Net AI6TG.
Okay, yeah, this is KP4MD. I might have ventured this sort of climb maybe 50 years ago. I don't think I'm up to it nowadays. But thank you. Are there any other stations anybody else wants to make any comments or questions about this?
AE6JG.
Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead, James.
Just wondering, Joel, when you say you make it a multi-day trip, are there level places to sleep and cook some food if you take a few days to get up to the top there?
There's a campground in Little Yosemite Valley called the Little Yosemite Valley Campground, and that's about 2/3 of the hike up. It's maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile upstream from the top of Nevada Falls.
All right, thanks. AE6JG.
Okay, thank you very much for that excellent picture. And the only pixel pops I see are maybe a half a dozen or maybe a dozen really faint ones in the black area, lower part of the screen. So let's go over to you, Jay. If you're ready to send a picture, we're ready to receive. This is KP4MD, over.
All right, thank you, Carol. This is N6SAC. This is my very first time sending a slow scan image. This is going to be PD120.
Okay, let's go up to you, James. A6JG. How did you copy that? Over.
Well, Jay, congratulations on your first slow scan TV image transmission. I have, it's a great photo, excellent composition. I'm guessing this must be a minor league player jumping back to first base or third base. I can't figure out where on the field this player is. Very light, pixel pops throughout the image, but they're muted enough that they don't actually distract from the image, which is really good. And Jay, you did something which I still haven't figured out how to do, which is to add my call sign onto the image, E6JG back to net control.
Okay, thank you very much for that report. And let's go over to you, Joel. AI6DG, how did you copy that over?
I agree with everything that's been said. A fair amount of pops, but not distracting. Someone's doing a chest slide into a base. I don't think it's home plate, but why is he on his chest? But his hand's reaching out and is touching or about to touch, so I guess he's safe. Yeah, need more info. When do they go chest first versus leg first? Back to that, AI6DG.
Yeah, okay, it's KP4MD, and it looks like there's a lot of sand flying, which kind of goes with the pixel pops. I think the signal strength into the repeater may just be a little lighter than some of the previous pictures we've seen, and that's why we see more pixel pops. Either that or else PAVE pause is getting all more active, like they do sometimes during the evening. Over to you, Jay. Tell us more about the picture, please. N6SAC KP4MD.
Yeah, thanks everybody. This is N6SAC. Yeah, I picked this image on purpose. I took this picture. This is indeed a minor league. These are the YOLO High Wheelers. They are independent league. They play in a league called the Pioneer League, and it's equivalent to single A baseball. And they play at the UC Davis campus. They're currently in the championship series for the Pioneer League. This picture was taken just a little over a week ago when they were finishing their last regular season game against the Oakland Ballers. And yeah, this was a runner for the YOLO High Wheelers. He had taken his lead off of first base, and the pitcher was going to try to pick him off, and so he dives head first back to first base. So that's the sliding on your chest is when you're close to the bag versus running a long distance towards the bag. And I picked this one on purpose because there is a bunch of gravel and sand being sprayed by his slide that would mask some of the pixel pops, so it just kind of goes with the image. But I'm glad it all worked. And yeah, adding the call sign, James, is pretty easy to do. So I'm glad it all worked. N6SAC.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. My question for you, Jay, is did you do that as a template, or did you just edit the image with your call sign on it? Over.
Yeah, I started as a template, and I'm still getting used to the software. And so I was loading up the little squares down below to kind of tee up some of the images. And when I loaded that one in, the template didn't apply to it. So I just went in on the image in the software, kind of did the template again, and it had remembered my font choice and my color choices and all that stuff. So I just drew the little text box and used the macro, the %M, I think, for your call sign, and stuck that on there. So I didn't edit the image in image editing software. I did it all inside of the slow scan TV thing here. I'm trying to figure out how to make the template stick so it'll work on any image. N6SAC, back to you.
Yeah, are you working with MMS SSTV? Over.
Roger that. The unique version 1.13, I think it is what I'm currently using.
Yeah, I'm not particularly familiar with that version, but there's a button right underneath the when you're in the TX tab, and you got your picture in the window there, ready to send. There's a one of the buttons underneath the image, the one that says ABC with an arrow that points to the little image there. That is the one that's supposed to superimpose a template on top of your picture, and you have to have the correct templates selected in order to do that. Well, play around with it. It takes a little time, but we all learn. Any questions, any further questions or comments about this before we continue?
AI6DG.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Joel.
I'm far from an expert on SSTV and haven't done a lot of playing around with it, but when I'm doing an image, I select SPICs to bring up the list of the pictures. This is one of the transmit tabs. I go to the transmit tab, I click on SPICs. I use the right and left arrows that's on the extreme right side to scroll through the list of pictures and select one that doesn't have a picture. Make sure I do a right click and set the size to what I want it to be. Then do a right click and do either load file or paste, depending upon whether the image I want to add is in on the clipboard or not. And then if you click on S template, that then lists all the templates that you have. So you can have a whole bunch of templates and a whole bunch of pics. So when you're on the S pics, you can double click on it when you're in the TX tab, and it'll add that picture into the TX window. And if you click on S templates to list the number of templates, you can double click on a template and it'll add that text to what's in the TX window. So you just give it a try, play around, you'll get it figured out. Back to Net AI6DG.
Okay, I hear a tone there. Is there somebody else who wants to join in on the nets? KP for MD. Okay, nothing heard. I guess it was one of those random tones out there. Exactly. You just got to play with it, and you'll get the hang of it. And I'm going to send a picture over here with that template superimposed. And this is also going to be PD120. This is KP4MD. Okay, let's go up to Joel, AI6DG. How did you copy this and your comments? Over.
Reasonably good reception. A few pops are all around. Insert on the lower left of the previous image of the guy sliding into first. So as it was scrolling down, you're always looking at the image and guessing, trying to figure out, okay, what is it? What is it going to turn out to be? And sometimes you get it figured out beforehand, and sometimes you get surprises. This one I kind of got figured out. I didn't figure out it was the grill of the top of something for a while, but I did recognize that we were looking at a shiny desktop with things, with reflections of things in the background shining onto the desk. And I finally figured, okay, it's a grill of a radio cabinet, an old-style radio cabinet of some kind. And then we got to the front panel. Oh, it's a Heathkit something. It's Heathkit green. And then as I got further down and we started seeing the iambic keys, oh, it's an iambic electronic keyer. So that's what we've got, a Heathkit iambic keyer with the two iambic pads in the center, a volume knob on the right, and a speed hold knob on the left. And I know that if it's the key only, it's a key, and if it's the keyer that the key goes into, it's the keyer. But what do you call it when it's the key and the keyer at the same time? Well, apparently Heathkit called it, as the label on the bottom says, Heathkit electronic keyer. Back to net AI6TG.
Hey, thank you very much, Joel. Let's go down to Jay, N6 Sierra Alpha Charlie. Your comments on this picture and how did you receive it? Over.
Yeah, thanks. So this is N6SAC. Boy, Joel described exactly what I was doing the same way. It's like, okay, I recognize the grill. This is going to be a heavy case. Those are venting holes. And then the curvature of the front as the enclosure came to the front, and that Heathkit green gave it away. Now, Heathkit's a little bit before my time getting into this hobby, but I recognized. So I didn't know what kind of Heathkit thingy it was until we got a little further down, and the volume knob made sense. Then I had to kind of focus and saw that it was speed. I'm like, okay, well, that's got to be some kind of keyer. Then I got distracted by my own picture in the lower corner, and then once it all finished up, I realized, oh, yeah, that is an electric keyer, and those are the pads there in the middle. And I was also looking at the template that you applied to it all the way around. So, and Joel, thank you for the tip on how to apply that. I'm going to do that for the next image that I send. All right, yeah, good image. Got a fairly widespread pixel pops all over, but not enough to distract it really. It looks good overall. N6SAC, back to you.
Okay, very good. James, you have any comments on this? I think you probably had seen this online already. Over.
I have not seen this, but I don't have much to add about the image itself. I am curious to know if you built this yourself, and wondering if you've actually used it. Would you use this for practice now, or is it? Would you plug it in to a transceiver? Same description of a good image overall. Light pops throughout, but nothing to distract. The biggest distraction is the guy sliding into first base. Back to you, Carol. 86JG.
Okay, very good. This actually, I just recently acquired this over the weekend. Went up to Reno on Saturday. They had the Reno Ham Swap Ham Fest over there behind Cabela's next to Boomtown. And this was part of an estate sale. This went for $5. Can you believe it? $5. And it's in mint condition. It works off 110 volts AC or 12 volts DC, and it's got a great side tone in it. Yeah, the Heathkit keyers had built-in paddles in them. The first one that came out, I believe, before this was a single paddle. Then they came out with this iambic paddle keyer. It's an interesting circuit inside. It's got a actual a 12-volt power transformer with a bridge rectifier, and then they use a pass transistor with a 5-volt Zener diode on it to provide 5 volts. The logic in there is TTL. These are those dual inline packages and they plug into sockets. That's 7400 series ICs. I think you know what I'm talking about, Joel. It may be maybe you do too, also, Jay. But it's in mint condition, and I plugged it in, and the thing works. It's got a great side tone, and I'm planning to use it for using on the slow speed CW net practice net that we do on Friday nights at 8 p.m. on the 440.450 repeater. So I don't have to be using my little breadboarded circuit with all the parts and the wires sticking out of a breadboard like I have to do. So I haven't used it on a rig, but it certainly can key any rig. It's compatible with negative or positive keying, and it's super clean. The person who built this did an awesome job, and I opened it up, just cleaned out the dust, and adjusted the tension on the paddles there. The paddles are not as good as the bencher paddle that I have externally, but it does work, and you could use a straight key on it too. Just straight key plugs in the back, and you could use it like a code practice oscillator. That's what I love it for. So that's my super bingo jackpot that I found at the Hamfest this past weekend. Any questions or comments about this, KP for MD?
Questions?
Yeah, go ahead. Question, please.
Does it have a stereo jack so you can use an external set of paddles? And absolute steel, what the heck happened? Did no one know what it was? Or can you explain how come you lucked out so much at that steal of a price? Back to net, AI60G.
Yeah, all I can say is it's it was an estate sale, and it was on a tabletop that was labeled $5 for anything on top of this table. And I think I'm one of the few people that are still interested in Morse code. Perhaps that might be the reason. And I actually got there. I arrived at the Hamfest about an hour after it started. So if somebody else wanted it, they could have very easily picked it up before I got to it. So that's that's what I can say. And I happen to love CW. It's one of my preferred modes on HF. Did I answer all the questions? Over?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I mean, is it because it looks old and no one's buying old stuff? Is the demographic young up there? You just lucked out that no Heathkit collectors walked by. But I find it hard to believe that there's that few people doing CWs, and considering that you hear how much popular CW is now compared to when it was code required. But maybe I need to start going to some swaps and seeing just how much the selection and the demographics of who's showing up has changed. Back to net AI60G.
Yeah, I'd have to say probably a majority of the people attending were probably over 50. Some young people, mostly older people though, and I don't know. They must have just overlooked it because they might have been just distracted by everything else that was up there. There were a lot of rigs of all kinds, vintage rigs, what they call legacy type rigs, and modern rigs, and they were going for really good prices up there. So really can't say much else. Antennas and cables of all kinds. Over. Okay, the size of the Hamfest, by the way, I have to say probably similar to the size of the Lincoln Hamfest. It wasn't not as big as the one up in Loomis, but it was essentially the length of one of the rows. It was in the parking lot. It was the length of one of the rows in the parking lot on both sides, and it went from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it was only 2 hours long, and weather was very fair up there. So it was very enjoyable. Any okay? We're going to open it up here. See, the time is 9:47. Yeah, we do have time for another picture if somebody wants to send another picture. Over.
AE6JG.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, James.
I could send another picture if you guys have the patience for it.
Oh yeah, we love your pictures. Why don't you go ahead and send a picture? Go for it, James.
All right, just give me 1 second. All right. No, that's not going to... I was going to try to do the template. Forget it. I'll just send it without the template. Here we go. PD 120.
Okay, thank you for that picture, James. Over to you, Joel, AI6DG. Over.
So we're looking down at a waterfall, I don't know, 30, 40 feet tall. It's quite a ways away, so the details kind of lost, but it's surrounded by trees all around. I mean, lots of pine trees. So we're moderate altitude, not sea level, not foothills, a bit above that, but not high Sierra. Part of it's in shadow. So the creek or river is coming down just left of center, and the bottom of the waterfall, the creek or river is going off to the right, behind some trees. Nice shot, probably a nice hike to get here to this view. Back to NIP, AI6DG.
Hey, thank you for that description. Over to you, Jay, and how did you copy that? Any comments? Over.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, this is N6SAC. Overall, fairly good quality. Some pops here and there, but not enough to distract from there. It also feels like it was a high-resolution image. It's a little lower resolution now. The waterfall going into the pool doesn't look like it's roaring. The little pool pond that it's collecting into is not all chopped up and white. So I think this was recent. I know James just had a trip up close to Mount Shasta and up to Lake Tahoe. And so this would tell me this is a summertime waterfall flow, just because it's not roaring. It's just kind of trickling and doing its thing. So this might be a very recent picture. Back to net. This is N6SAC.
Hey, thank you for that. James, please explain what the picture is about. A6JG's KP4MD.
Well, you're all right. Jay, this is not far from where we had a little QSO on 40 meters up in the cloud near Mount Shasta the other week. And then this is the McCloud River, and there's a series of waterfalls that we took a hike, and it's a few miles, and there's a series of waterfalls running just like this. It's very nice. It was late morning, so it was cool and pretty, and it was certainly nice to get out of the hot heat of the Sacramento area. Also, I want to thank both you and Carol for joining me in those classes I was teaching, particularly one in Lake Tahoe. You both were fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, that's about it. Just a nice hike along the McCloud River, AE6JG.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions about this picture before we close the net? Okay, nothing heard. Well, we want to thank everyone who participated in tonight's Slow Scan Television Net. We hope to see you again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific Time. This net is now officially closed at I have 9:54 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And this is Carol, Killer Pop for Mike Delta, wishing you all a very good evening and 73.